I'm going to offer some thoughts on maybe not one of my favourite books, but certainly one of the most fascinating books on my shelf. It's Walter Benjamin's Arcades Project. Now, I'm not going to give a full overview of Benjamin and his thought and work, but for anyone unfamiliar, he was a German Jewish thinker, primarily a sort of literary critic, theorist, but who drew heavily on philosophy, on Jewish mysticism, who was associated loosely with the Frankfurt School of Marxist sociology, although was never quite fully affiliated with them. He died almost at the end of World War II. He committed suicide while trying to escape from Europe. And he had a fascination with the products and forms that capitalist and bourgeois society had created in a way that wasn't completely negative. He always tried to maintain an outlook that, as destructive as capitalism had been, there was always the hope that these new forms could be used in a fresh way, in a way towards a revolution. And the Arcades Project was perhaps supposed to be his magnum opus. It's essentially a collection of hundreds, probably thousands of fragments of quotes from other books, of quotes from government reports, travelogues, other books of literary theory, attempting to give a sort of impressionistic picture of Paris, of the Paris of the 19th century, and specifically Paris of the arcades, the sort of shopping centres almost, where shopping streets have been covered with a glass and steel roofing to create this sort of new space of consumption, of reflection in the glass. And I like to think of this book almost as the closest a book could get to a kind of open world computer game. You wouldn't want to read it from beginning to end, but you can kind of dip in and out. It's almost like going down one of these avenues of the arcades, here and there, finding new things in some shadowy corner. And there's no book quite like it in that sense. It's not clear that he intended it to remain in this form, but this is what he left, this amazing collection of fragments, which are interspersed frequently with his own thoughts, his own interpretation of these things. And he touches on anything from the history of Paris, Haussmann, the architect's famous destruction and construction of the boulevards, to the new world of the commodity, to prostitution, to Baudelaire, the French poet whose sort of powerfully intense and dark poems speak of the new sense of disorientation in the modern city. The flaneur is a major motif in this, the wanderer through the streets who has no particular aim but finds himself kind of absorbed in the new reality of the industrial city. And if it has any relevance now in this age of decaying shopping centres, which would perhaps be the most obvious analogy, could it be, and I'm being probably entirely unoriginal by saying this, the glass surfaces of our screens, of iPhones, of the commodities that beam out to us through these screens that reflect ourselves back to ourselves through these commodities. And from that perspective, perhaps we can recognize something of our almost spiritual roots as modern people in this time that Benjamin portrays, and we can wonder where we go from here.